Well, hey everybody, this is Linda from North Central Texas, and I wanted to show you some of the not so fun part of making cowboy candy, and also chow chow, because I'm going to be making both today. I don't know if I'll get it all filmed. First thing you do when you start to mess with these peppers is put on some plastic gloves that you can throw away, because these little things are hot. And you know how peppers are. Once you touch them with your hands and you get that hot juice on your fingers, even though you wash your hands, your eyes are going to burn. So you don't want to mess with these things with your bare hands. You want gloves on. And I'm using this is a habanero. I've got serrano, I've got chili peppers, I've got jalapenos. I've got several different types of jalapeno peppers and hot peppers in this pot. And this was my last picking because it's going to freeze tonight. Tonight is supposed to be the first freeze that we'll have. So I didn't want it to ruin my peppers or my tomatoes. So I picked jalapenos, and I picked all my hot peppers, or everything in my garden that would be hurt by the freeze tonight. I picked. But what you got to do is just take your peppers, hold them at the stem end, and slice them about 1/4 inch thick, something like that. You don't have to be exact. And try not to cut your glove. I mean, you use seeds and all in cowboy candy. And I'm not sure if this was a hot pepper or a bell pepper, but guess what? I'm slicing it up because I'm not going to cut it up in my salad like I did the other day. I found one and I thought it was a bell pepper. Got it in my salad, took a big spoonful of salad, got that pepper in my mouth, and found out that it was a hot pepper. And I tell you what, that wasn't a very nice thing. And this is, it's one of the hot peppers, I mean, I cannot remember the name of it. But it's the one that grows kind of long and bumpy. It reminds me of a big old jalapeno, but it's not a jalapeno. But it is another hot pepper. Like I said, I plant them in my yard, you know, just to keep the ants mostly away from my other plants. And it helps keep other critters out too. Now you want to cut off the stems. That's what I got this little bowl right here for. I'm cutting the stems off when, you know, discarding the stem. I'm not putting the stem in there. But yeah, this is the work part of making cowboy candy. Especially when you got to deal with these hot peppers. Yeah, this is the first freeze that we're going to have tonight. So I tried to get my garden ready, everything that I could do anything with out there. I put my light in the greenhouse. I don't know if it does any good, but I figured, well, it can't hurt. I probably even got a few banana peppers in here, which they're not hot ones, but I saved a handful of them out so I'd have them to put in a salad, but yeah, I got banana peppers in here too. I probably will get another 2 quarts out of this, maybe. Something like that. But since I planted them, and I went to the trouble to keep them watered all summer, you know, keep the plants alive, I figured, well, why not make some more, you know, the cowboy candy with them, even though I don't think I will be eating it, but some of my family will. I just didn't want them to go to waste. Which, I mean, they did their job. You know, they kept the ants, for the most part, away from the garden. And a lot of other critters that don't like hot peppers kept them away. But I just figured, since I got them, since I grew them, why not make the cowboy candy and let somebody that can still eat hot peppers enjoy them. I mean, there's a lot of people out there that still eat the really hot peppers. So, I figured I'd tell my son when I gave him some of them that maybe he ought to take some to work and have a hot pepper challenge. Have a cowboy candy challenge with him. See how many guys can withstand the heat. Well, I put the stem in there and I didn't mean to. Yeah, I figured I'd get on here and show you how I sliced them up, because I don't think I showed that in the other video that I had done. I tried to make it as easy and simple of a video as I could, and I think I left out a bunch of the preparation of the peppers and stuff. With my tomatoes, I don't even have to chop them up. What I can do is just throw them in the blender and do it a few pulses on it, and that'll chop them up good enough, I think. But the cowboy candy, you want the slices in there. You don't want them just all chopped up. You want actual slices of the peppers. So this is the only way I know to do it, unless I put it on my food slicer, and I think that would be more of a hassle than it would be a help with these little peppers. So I said, I just wear a pair of rubber gloves cutting them up, and I'll be good. Usually the recipe for making these, you know, you have a large quantity of peppers. I don't have a large quantity of them this time, so I said, you know, I'll just cut the recipe down to match what I've got here. Just like that little pepper, that looks like a harmless pepper. But I guarantee you that little pepper right there will set you on fire. That little one too. It's a pretty little pepper. But I guarantee you, that pepper is as hot as it is red. That one too, that's a habanero. That is a mouthful of heat right there. And guys, I had to put my jeans on today. And I had to put my sweatshirt on because after I got up, the temperature started cooling down. It started pouring down rain. So I had to actually dress for cooler weather today. Usually I'm taking everything off that I can possibly to stay cool because it's so hot. So it's a big switch to actually have to put on some clothes to stay warm. Like I said, we're going to get our first freeze tonight. It's supposed to get down to 30 or 31. And I think tomorrow that night it's supposed to get down to like 27. So if there's anything in the garden that cannot handle the heat, it's definitely going to take its toll on that tonight and tomorrow night. I don't know if our weather has anything to do with that storm that's hit the coast down in Florida and is fixing to head up through Georgia and North Carolina or not. I don't know if it's as far over as we are, but something is causing our weather to change. But I guess it's about time because, hey, this is November, you know. This is almost the middle of November already. And we've still had summer-like weather, so I was enjoying it. But when it gets cold, it gets cold. It don't mess around. At least a pepper is not like cutting up onions. You can put gloves on to keep the heat off your hands. But there's not much you can do to keep that stuff out of your eyes when you cut up an onion. And I tell you what, the last few onions that I have cut up, I have done some crying. Because those things have made me cry. Strong onions. They were little, but oh my God, they were strong. Yeah, and I'll be planting all these peppers again in the spring. Boy, that pepper was so hot it's about to take my breath. The fumes from where I was cutting it up, I started breathing it in and started making me cough. Those habaneros will, you know, they'll blister your mouth. Oh, I wish I had them cut up. Still got more to go. But, you know, it is a tedious job to cut them up. But they got to be cut up or you're not going to make your cowboy candy. Goodness. I guess I shouldn't have said something about the peppers not burning anything but your hands. Because they're doing a number on my breathing right now. And they're pretty little peppers. Especially these that are they're part red and part green, where they started to turn green, red. But I guarantee you they are as hot as they are pretty. Y'all come join me. Help me cut up some peppers. This is the reason I didn't put it in, I think, the first video, because I didn't want to bore you with cutting up peppers. But I did want to show you how I did it. It's not an easy task. It's a tedious one, because the peppers are not very big. Sometimes they're hard to hold. And you definitely don't want to cut your gloves with the knife and let that juice get on your fingers. But I thought I'd show you the fun part of making cowboy candy. One of my brothers told me he made it every year because they plant a garden every year. And he said he made it every year and gave a lot of it away at Christmas time to friends, family, whoever. I said, well, that's something I could do with my hot peppers this year. Because a lot of times, you know, I'll just pickle it. Have hot pepper vinegar. So I said, I'll try the cowboy candy this year. Plus, I did some... I pickled some as well. I mean, I put it in vinegar. But I figured this might be even better. Oh, almost got it. The thing about making the hot pepper vinegar with them, you don't even have to slice them up. You just take the little ones and put them in the vinegar, and that's pretty much it. Making the cowboy candy, you got to slice them up. And that could be the dangerous part with the heat of the peppers, that's for sure. And I'm sure when I put these scraps that I'm cutting off in the compost, I'm going to have a lot of these peppers that are going to come up on their own pepper plants for next year right out of the compost, because there's a bunch of seed. Even though I'm not de-seeding them, there's a lot of seed that's falling out and that's going in the scrap pile over here. I should not have to buy any kind of hot pepper seed next year. In fact, I did save some already of the seed. But I should not have to save any, you know, count on it, because I'll have enough seed in the compost that I'll have plants coming up everywhere on its own anyway, just like the tomato plants. Let me know in the comments, some of you that watch my videos, and let me know if you've ever made cowboy candy before. Or have you ever tried cowboy candy before? I tasted it, and with all the brown sugar and spices that's in it, it tastes pretty good. But oh my God, it's hot. Now, my chow chow is similar to cowboy candy, only it's not hot. It doesn't have the heat. So, I like my chow chow. Everybody else can have the cowboy candy. Yeah, I tell you, it stays hot in Texas, but when the weather changes, it changes. I mean, it goes from summertime one day to dead winter the next. Just like they said, the gas man, the first year I lived in Texas and I had propane delivered, we got to talking about the weather, and the gas man laughed and he said, "Yes, ma'am," he said, "that's Texas for you. If you don't like the weather, just wait a minute and it's going to change." And two, this is the only place I've ever lived where a lot of times people are wearing shorts in December. If we have a fairly decent winter, it's warm enough in December a lot of times to wear shorts outside. I mean, we'll have our cold days, but like I said, one day is different from the next. Might be summertime one day, freezing cold the next. Now, these peppers are tiny. I hate to even try to chop them up. I might even put these in a... fix another jar of hot pepper vinegar. I might do that. Well, you can see right there, that is some, a little bit of work. And I'm going to go ahead and clean this mess up before I go to the next stage of it. Throw those gloves away for sure. So let me clean the mess up and I'll get back with you. Okay, I'm back and I've got... I put, this is to fix the jalapenos in, the cowboy candy. I put 2 cups of apple cider vinegar, 2 cups of granulated sugar, the white sugar, and 2 cups packed brown sugar, 1 teaspoon turmeric, 1 teaspoon garlic powder, 1/4 teaspoon celery seed, and 1/2 teaspoon of cayenne pepper. Now what I had to do is bring it to a boil and let it boil for 5 minutes. And once it starts boiling, you turn it down to a simmer and simmer it for 5 minutes before you can put your jalapenos in, or your hot peppers. So I'll kind of watch the clock. Now it'll seem like the clock will never move because I'm waiting for it to boil for 5 minutes. And I guess the clock will be the same way the pot is when you're waiting for it to boil. The clock's not going to move. Just works out that way. You have to be careful because you don't want to leave it longer than that because it will caramelize on you. And we don't want it to caramelize. I hope all of you are getting ready for Thanksgiving. I'll be going to my son's for Thanksgiving. It'll be a few days before Thanksgiving, not right on Thanksgiving Day. I'm kind of looking forward to that. I always look forward to the holidays. Always get together with some of my family for Thanksgiving and Christmas and all of the major holidays. So I'll actually have 2 Thanksgivings, I guess, because I'll go there and have Thanksgiving with them before Thanksgiving, and then on Thanksgiving Day I'll cook something here. I'm just not sure if I'm going to cook a whole turkey or just maybe a hen. If it's a turkey, it's going to be a very small one. I don't like to cook over a 12-pounder unless I got a lot of people to feed. I always like to take the turkey carcass after I've cut, did the carving and all that, and make soup stock and stuff with it. It makes really good soup, or like dumplings. You can make a good broth and make some really good turkey dumplings or turkey and rice. There's a lot of things you can do with a turkey. Can make it go a long way. I hope all of you have a nice Thanksgiving. The holidays are always something to be thankful for, especially when you can get together with family. Okay, another minute and I can put the jalapenos in, I guess. That should be just about enough to do those jalapenos. I mean, those hot peppers. I don't know why I always call them jalapenos, because there's probably 6 different kind of hot peppers in there. Okay, now I can put these in. And then I've got to stir them till I bring it back to a boil. That should be just about enough to do these peppers in. It called for 20 big jalapenos, but mine were little ones, so. And you know, they say the seeds are hotter than the pepper. I don't know, I think both of them are hot. I think both of them are extremely hot, whether it's the pepper or the seeds. Got 3 jars sterilized, and I think that's going to be enough. If not, I'll have to grab another one. But it makes pretty colors for Christmas. The red and the green. I had some kind of peppers, I forgot the name of them, that they're actually, they actually turn black when they're ripe. I didn't realize there was so many different kinds of hot peppers until I started looking online and in the stores at the different hot peppers. So I did some experimenting. I tried to buy a package of like 5, 6, or 7 different kinds of hot peppers. Now we have to bring this back to a boil and simmer it for another 4 minutes. Got down pretty cold tonight. I'm not sure if it hit 30, but it sure got close to it if it didn't hit 30. Okay, it's starting to boil. It's to the 6. I hope everybody watching my videos enjoys cooking and gardening as much as I do. You can smell the heat. The heat from the pepper. I'll turn that back on in a minute. I get tired of listening to it roar when there's nothing in it. It's coming to a nice boil now, so it shouldn't be but a couple more minutes. That is some heat in that pot. think it's cooked for about 4 minutes. So then you have to do is just you take the heat off of it, and you take a slotted spoon, and you just simply start ladling them into your jars. And again, we don't pack them down, we just drop them in and let them fall, basically. So I'm not sure how many jars I'll get out of this. I may end up with just 2, I don't know. It looks like I'll end up with maybe 2 jars. And then after you get all of that ladled out, you bring it back to a boil, and you boil the liquid for 6 to 7 minutes, and then remove it from the heat and let it set for about 3 minutes to cool. And then using a ladle, we'll dip it into the and what I did with my ladle. Thought I had it right here. There it is. It looks good, but I know even that vinegar right now, after having those hot peppers in there, that is some hot stuff. And I don't mean fire hot, I mean hot pepper hot. And the combination of both, it would kill you probably, be so hot. And again, when you're waiting for the time to go by, it never moves, does it? The clock stays still. I am so ready to get in the Christmas spirit. I never even like to put my Christmas decorations up until after Thanksgiving. Usually the day after Thanksgiving, I start putting Christmas stuff up. Because I figure a whole month is long enough to have Christmas lights burning. Because once I turn mine on, I do not turn them off. I leave them on till after Christmas. A lot of times till after New Year's. Yeah, I couldn't get over the stores. I got to the place where almost in the middle of the summer, they're already getting in Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas. I mean, they don't even get Halloween out of the way before they've got everything else in the store. And then it's a rush to get to Christmas because, you know, they've already got Christmas stuff in at Halloween time. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous, but I guess it's better to get it early than not get it at all. And the way the country has been, you never know what's going to happen as far as shipping and ordering stuff and, you know, getting merchandise in the stores anymore. It needs to boil maybe another 2 minutes, and we can turn the heat off and set it aside and let it cool for about 3 minutes. And then we get to put it in the jars. Okay, that's been boiling for about 6 minutes, so it needs to cool down for a couple of minutes. And then we can start putting it in the jars. Let it quit boiling a little bit. Another minute. Yeah, I'm thinking I've just got a feeling that it's going to be a real positive New Year's. I'm looking forward to the new year because I think it's going to be a great year all the way around. I mean, for the government, for the communities, everybody. I just have a feeling deep down that we're going to have a good year. Okay, now I'm going to start ladling this into my into my peppers, my jars. And you only want it about 1/4 from the top of the jar. And then we don't fill it all the way up. Probably put a little bit more in that one. It's looking good. I really thought though I would have ended up with 3 jars instead of 2, but that's okay. I overestimated a little. And one thing I forgot to do on my other ones was to wipe the ring, but they were as clean could be anyway, so I'm not worried about them. Here, get those on there. Woo, it's hot. I hated I only had 2 jars to get in there, but it's okay. Whoop! Turned it over. Did not intend to do that. Now those just need to boil for in the canner 10 minutes for pints and 15 for half pints. And mine are pints, so I'm going to leave them in there for 10 minutes. Rinse out my stuff while I'm waiting. I don't like that sugar to dry on anything. The heat from that pot, the fumes from the peppers that I boiled in them is unreal. Leave that jar till next time. So I'm just here washing my trying to get the sugar melted out of my pot. especially this up at the top at the rings. Yeah, I think we're going to have I just got a feeling we're in for a good New Year's. I just think the whole next year is going to be a fantastic year. I need to get my sponge for this. Some of the sugar is like cooked onto it. If you got a dishwasher, it would come off real easy because that scalding hot water would just melt it off. And I guarantee you this cowboy candy will spice up Christmas, that's for sure. Anybody that likes hot peppers. I like them. Like I said, I just can't eat them like I used to. My stomach don't agree with them. There. Quick and easy cleanup. And I'm trying to get my hands dry. A few more minutes on that canner. Yep, it's a boiling. Not only sounds like it, it is boiling. That's something I love. I make a video of you watching me clean up the mess from my cowboy candy while it's in the canner. But again, I don't like the sugar on anything because we do have ants living around here in these rocks outside, so. And I think they have radar. If there's a grain of sugar or anything that they can eat close by, they're going to know where it's at. And it takes them no time at all to find it and just devour it. And that means you got ants everywhere. So I try to keep everything cleaned up. Let them get in the compost and the stuff out in the yard. They don't need to come in my house. Sorry about that. I didn't mean to leave you in the watching the sink. But I got the canner going over here, so I'll get it out. Get those jars out in just a sec. Doesn't take long. Couple more minutes. Woo, it's steaming. That should be. No, I bought this thing because I thought it would be easier to get these out of the canner, but it's not. I don't like the way this thing and my jars are already popping. Whew. Well, I made it back. This time I have started on my tomatoes and my tomatillos. I have cut the big ones in half or quartered them, and the little ones, some of them I cut in half, some of them I've left whole, because I'm going to put them in my blender and just pulse them a little bit to get them chopped up, rather than try to do it by hand. And I'm so limited with my space that I'm having to work around the kitchen sink here. Because that's the only place I know how I have access to the sink and to my drainer and everything else. So just have to bear with me. So what I did is I cut up a whole onion and I quartered it. And then I cut up half of a cabbage right here. Just a half of one. For for the tomatoes I've got, you could put a whole one. It's up to you. I like a little bit less cabbage. But what I'm doing is I'm cutting the onion in sections. Like I put about a quarter of it in at a time. And then I add a little bit of the cabbage in. And then I add some of the tomatoes and the tomatillos. Because this is so much easier on you than having to chop up everything by hand. You just have to be careful not to leave them in there too long, because you don't want them to be mush. I mean, you want them chopped, but you don't want them to be mush. And usually a couple of pulses is about all you need. Because like I said, you don't want them chopped up too fine. You don't want to make mush out of them. You want them kind of the consistency of coleslaw. Something like that. Now some of them got up a little bit too small, but that's okay. And then I put them in a strainer, a colander, to drain that liquid off of them a little bit before I put them in with the rest of them. I had more tomatillos and tomatoes than I thought. I probably could go ahead and put the whole cabbage in there, but I think I'm just going to go with the tomatillos mostly. I don't know if you can even see that back there. See what I'm doing? There, that's a little bit better. Don't jam pack it full too much. It more or less chops them rather than it, you know, it doesn't grind them up too fine. How that onion got through there, well, that piece of cabbage. Almost a whole piece of cabbage in there. Let me check. In case there's another piece or two I need to put back in there. And there is a couple of them. So I don't want them left whole. I want them chopped. But and when they drain some of that liquid off of them, I'm just transferring them over here to this bowl. Because see how they drip? I mean, they drip quite a bit once you chop them. And most of that is the juice out of the tomatoes. Because even though they're green, or most of them are green, pretty green, some of them have started to turn just a little bit to ripen. So they do have liquid inside. It'd be so nice if I had like a inset that I could put on top of my sinks, or at least one of the sinks, to use as an extra counter space. That would be so neat. I may have to come up with something like that. Because like I said, I am so cramped with space and ways that I can film anything. That's why I don't put more than I do in one, you know, in the picture, in the video, because might help if I get it the right side up. And I pulse it. I don't just shower down on it, because I want it to mix up. And I want it to chop. I don't want it, because I found that if you just shower down on that lever and you let it go constantly, it will pulverize whatever you've got in there. It doesn't chop it that good. But the recipe for chow chow and the one for cowboy candy is basically the same recipe. Only you use, of course, the jalapenos in the cowboy candy. And you use the tomatoes and the tomatillos and cabbage in your chow chow. And if you like it hot, you can put a little bit of hot pepper in your chow chow. I don't like mine hot. There is going to be a little bit of the hot pepper flakes in it, but not enough to really make it hot, because I don't want it hot. Remember, I'm fixing chow chow for myself, and I don't want it hot. I'd rather have it not hot for myself. And I have given my son some. He said he likes it, the chow chow that I make. And I'm sorry, I got the bowl in front of the camera. I was just filling up this bowl here, trying to get this stuff out of the way until I can get around to washing it later. Just put it in the dish drainer. And I forgot to turn my pot on. I've got my vinegar, my sugars, and my other ingredients all in the pot already. And at the end of the video, I will list the ingredients. So they'll come up on the screen at the very end of the video, and it'll be stationary. So if anybody wants to copy off the ingredients and they're interested in making either one of these, they'll be able to do it. Yeah, and I know I got my dish pan out of my sink, but I did that because I wanted access to my sink. And I've still got my jalapenos here that I've got to finish. But I wanted to get the chow chow going. Because since the ingredients are basically the same for either one, I wanted to do my chow chow first. Because like I said, I don't want it extremely hot. And you got to boil this for like 10 minutes before you put the other stuff in. And I'm not sure this is going to be a big enough pot. In fact, I know it's not. I'm going to have to get me a bigger pot. I think that one will be big enough. Because there's no need in getting it to a boil and counting on using that if I know it's going to be too small once I get all this other stuff in there. And I'm going to have to pour a little bit more vinegar in there to get all that sugar out of the bottom. Me looking around from my spatula and I had it right there. hope I've got enough jars now for all this. I think I will. I've sterilized most of them already. But I've got a few more that I can use. And I need to wash that out a little bit because it had sugar in the bottom and I don't want that sugar to stick. I'd rather rinse it out rather than let the sugar stick. And I can wash it good later when I wash the other stuff. Because if you've ever had sugar dry hard in something, you know sometimes it's hard to get it out. A lot of times you have to put it in boiling hot water to ever get the sugar out of it. Get the sugar to melt. But like I said, I've got to bring that to a boil for about 10 minutes. And then I'll put my tomatillo and tomato, cabbage, and onion mixture in there. And again, you know, I've got brown sugar, I've got the apple cider vinegar, and I've got lots of spices and stuff in there. But one thing I did actually forget to put in there was the garlic powder. Can't forget my garlic. And I got up this morning, it was pouring down rain outside. And after I got up, I fixed me a cup of coffee. And it started getting cooler and cooler. So I went in there and I grabbed my blue jeans and my Dallas Cowboy sweatshirt and put them on because I said, I've got to have me some clothes on today. I said, usually it's so hot out here, I'm taking clothes off just to stay halfway comfortable, and now I'm putting them on. It's about 40 degrees out there right now, and it's like 6:30, 6:45 in the evening, and we're supposed to get down to 30 here tonight, and about 27 tomorrow night. So I brought in my aloe vera, got my greenhouse situated. I don't know if the few tomato plants that I put out there are going to survive this freezing temperature or not. I did put a light out there, but I don't know if the light is going to help that much. I guess I need one of those grow lights that put out a lot of heat. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But I said, you know, if those few tomato plants that I put in there, they freeze and die, it's not a big deal. I can always plant more next summer. And I'm sure I'll have plenty with all the tomato seed that's going to end up in the compost, plus the seed that I plant. Other than that, I'll have plenty of tomatoes. I'm sure I'll have plenty of hot peppers too. I never realized I was going to end up with a big old garden and end up canning stuff and being on YouTube, that's for sure. But you know, it's a small world. Strange things happen. I enjoy doing it. Sometimes my camera doesn't want to cooperate with me, but other than that, I usually have a good time with gardening and cooking and doing my videos, so It's something I enjoy to do. I don't know what the storm's going to do. I guess we're getting the tail end of it, or it's caused a cool front to move in through Texas as well as Georgia and South Carolina and all that area. It sure changed our temperature, that's for sure. I mean, we're not going to get any real bad weather. It's just raining and the temperatures have dropped. So, you know what they say, a watched pot never boils? Well, I kind of believe it. Because in doing videos and stuff, and even cooking just normally, if I wait for a pot to boil, it just seems like it takes forever for that thing to boil. Rinsing those out. It'll help a little bit so stuff don't stick. Yeah, they always say a watch pot never boils. Well, sometimes I believe it. Because it's taken this one a long time to boil. But it's as high as it will go, and it's got to start boiling pretty soon. We'll see. If I don't run out of time with my camera here. But this has got to come to a boil, and it's supposed to boil for 10 minutes. And then you add your tomatoes and your slaw cut mixture over here. You add that to the pot, and you cook it another 10 minutes boiling, or simmer it. And then you start putting it in your jars. And like I said, I've got most of my jars already sterilized. I don't know if I needed to get out any more of them that I had. Yeah, I think that's going to be enough. It's starting to boil. Anyway, I'm going to let this boil for the 10 minutes, and then I'm going to add my cut up tomatoes and tomatillos and stuff, and then I'm going to simmer them for 10 minutes, and I'll bring you back in. Okay, I've let my mixture here, my chow chow, simmer for about 10 minutes. I've let it cool down, and now I'm getting ready to put it in the jars. And like I said, I've already got my jars over here sterilized. I'm not sure how many jars it's going to take, but I've already got them sterilized. So what I got to do now is put my mixture in there. And what you do is you take a slotted spoon. That's what this is, a slotted spoon. And you kind of dip it in there and drain off a little bit of the juice. Because you want to get your mixture down in there really good. I mean, you don't want just a jar of juice. So you put it in there with a slotted spoon. And after we get our jar full, we're going to add a little bit of a liquid at the last. I mean, you don't want to pack it, but you do want some peppers in there. I mean, not peppers, but chopped up relish, basically, is what it is. That like that. And then I'm going to add my liquid later. I guess you can see if I keep my hand out from in front of everything. Maybe if I move the camera over here, you might be able to see it a little better. I don't know. At least what I'm doing here in the jars. The problem here is I can't get the camera back far enough. This one out of the way, you can see what I'm doing there. But I cooked it for 10-15 minutes until you think the tomatoes and the tomatillos and the cabbage is cooked a little bit. I mean, you don't want it mushy or nothing, but you want it cooked a little bit. And I may be getting too much in there, I'm not sure. Because we want a little bit of headroom. And like I said, we don't pack it down. I have to kind of poke it like that to get it to go through my funnel, because I mean, even though I got a wide mouth funnel, it's not that wide. I mean, it's wide enough I can use it for this, but looks like I'm going to get a good 4 pints of chow chow. Or a little bit more than that, actually. And now I'm going to come back in and put a little bit of my liquid in each jar. And again, like I said, you only want it you need to leave about 1/4 of a I just dropped my gotta rinse that off. It's got so much sugar in that stuff. I don't want to be handling it. My fingers will stick to the spoon. Yeah, leave about, just fill it up to where the rim starts, because you got to have like a 1/4 inch at least headroom there. Basically fill it up to where the mixture is. Man, I keep doing that. To keep rinsing it off every jar I do, I guess. I keep forgetting that pot is not that big. I get them all filled, then I'll go back and get the air bubbles out. And what I do is I take my wooden fork, I take the stick end of it, and I just poke it down in there. That'll hopefully get out whatever air bubbles is in there. Now the process like this is the same for the cowboy candy. Because you want to release as much of the air out of your jar as possible before you put the lids on. Then we'll go ahead and get that canner started back up to get it boiling, or start getting it hot. Because then we just basically put them in the canner for another 10-15 minutes and take them out and put them on the counter, and you're good to go. I've got my lids. And when you put your lids on, you just want to give them one good twist. You don't want them... You don't want to strain on it to make them tight. Just tighten them with your hand. Slip them down in your canner. And I'm going to see if I can get another jar of this. Looks like I might be able to. Leave that because I'm wondering. I have not bought any pickle relish to use since I've been making chow chow because it's basically like a pickle relish. And I actually like it better. I think I'm going to get some of this out. It's not going to take much because I'm actually going to strain the rest of what's in this pot through a colander. I have to get this dish pan out of the way to do it. I'm very primitive. Get the little one. Well, no, maybe I better use the big one. Don't mind me, y'all. See, I'm just going to get a strainer. Put it right there in the sink, and I'm going to pour the rest of this liquid in the strainer. So I can get the rest of the chow chow out of it. And that's going to make me another jar of it. And then put a little bit more of the liquid in. There you go. Then I'm going to rinse this this drainer out before that sugar dries, because you'll never get that sugar off of there without boiling it. You let it dry on there. Oops, I need this to get the air bubbles out. Well, I got everything cleaned up, and I wanted to come on here and show you what I ended up with. There's six jars right here, 6 pints. That's the chow chow that I ended up with out of this bunch. And there is the 2 cowboy candy. So I got 2 pints of cowboy candy and 6 pints of chow chow. That was all of the tomatillos, the green tomatoes, the onion, and the cabbage that I used. And this was all of the peppers that I had cut up in that bowl that I showed you. And it made 2 pints, 2 pint jars of cowboy candy. So that was the harvest before the first freeze. So we'll see you on the next one. Y'all enjoy.